Well, hello, my dearios. I'm here today in the village church, St. Peter's, Babraham, where a chap called Jonas Webb, and here's this guy. Jonas Webb was one of our more illustrious former residents, and he created a very popular and special kind of sheep called the Southdown. And the gentleman with me is Lindsay Dane, is the former chairman of the Southdown Sheep Society UK, although I understand that the numbers in England are now not so huge, and Australia and New Zealand has maybe the largest populations.
Yes, that's right. About 100 years ago, the Southdown was one of the most numerous breeds of sheep, certainly in the UK, and was exported all around the world. It's not a big breed, and fashions changed. Larger breeds became more popular, and it ended up in the 1970s as a rare breed. Things have improved in the last 20 or 30 years. It's now off the Rare Breed Survival Trust list, and it has quite a good niche in various parts of the agricultural sector. It produces very fast finishing lambs, so they can get to the butcher within about 10 or 12 weeks, and its lambs, if you use a Southdown ram or other breeds of sheep, are smaller than many, so they're much easier lambing, far less trouble for the farmer at lambing time, with much smaller risk of difficult lambings that need attention or even the vet calling out. So it's a breed that's on the up, but there have been none in Babraham for decades now.
In fact, there's no farm animals of any kind in the village anymore. There is some farmland, and there's a lot of very suitable grazing land that has shade. As we've just done a very educational walk around, and I've learned a huge amount. So it would be lovely for the village, and particularly the school children, to get some of Jonas's sheep back in the village. And Lindsay's come up with a very interesting proposal, which is, rather than the village take on the costs and responsibilities of buying some, that he would be willing to, at certain times of the year, bring some of his own Southdown sheep to graze here, so that the children at the primary school got to see them for a few months a year, and that this would be a very cheap, or possibly even a barter type deal that would just need permission from one of the landowners. Yes,
there's a lot of bureaucracy around keeping livestock anywhere, and quite rightly it needs to be complied with. So the land that the animals are on has to be registered with DEFRA, the government agriculture department. There are rules about logging the movements of sheep to and from land, and detailed veterinary records have to be kept for all medical treatments, because they do need vaccinations and spraying with chemicals to protect them from being eaten alive by maggots. So there's all of that needs dealing with, and clearly the welfare of the animals is paramount. Yes. So somebody needs to be on hand every day to check them, and somebody competent then needs to come out to deal with any problems that arise, and problems do always arise with sheep. They say that sheep are always looking for a new way to die, and that is true on occasion. So there's certainly good possibilities here, and it would be very nice if we can come up with a way of working out bringing the breed back to the village where they were made famous, in Victorian times by Jonas Webb.
Yes. I believe it would be quite a good deal. It's quite a big deal, which is beneficial to everybody.
And certainly, the Southdown Society are very conscious of our history. You know, we had our 125th anniversary celebrations down at Goodwood, the motor racing place a few years ago, and you know, being able to bring the sheep back to where Jonas Webb bred them and popularised them all those years ago would certainly be good publicity for the society in promoting the use of the sheep more, you know, across the agricultural sector.
Yes, and the parish council and institute, if they help to make it possible.
Definitely, I think it's a good news story. It's sort of thing the local press want to do. I'm not very into social media, but I'm sure there's opportunities there as well.
Yes. Oh yes. Well, we'll definitely get some shots of some of the people enjoying the sheep if we can bring it all off. Okay, well, you've brought some very useful looking leaflets to help explain this to the powers that be around here, and thank you so much for your visit and your time.
No, very happy, and if there's any more I can do, if you want me to come and talk to anybody as you progress it, then I'd be happy to do so. I lived in Babraham for 10 years, 30 years ago now, so do have some fondness for the village still.
And as may well, I would think there's a strong chance you actually know some of the people who are still here. Yeah?
Possibly,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Finishing shot. Pivo, look at me. Good boy. All right. So happy Sheep Day, everybody, and happy coronation for the weekend.